started off by making a homemade structure from MDF and threaded rod. I have a tutorial on making your own cake structures if you're interested, and I'm stacking, I've actually got a mixture here, chocolate cake, but it's predominantly red velvet cake, and I have pre-chilled these, filled them and chilled them so that they're nice and firm when I come to carve my cake. I find it much easier to handle this way. It stops the buttercream sort of schmooshing all over the place. So the majority of the bust you can see is cake, and just at the bottom, and to add some stability, I'm creating that bottom V shape with Rice Krispie mix, and with my leftover cake offcuts, a bit like cake pop material, I'm just using that to fill in any additional space. I was a bit short on the shoulders, so that's what I've done there, and I am covering the whole thing in chocolate ganache. I'm scooping his eyes out because it just gives me a cavity in which to sink the eyeballs that I'm going to make, and just stops them sort of bulging out of his head. I am using our own product, Sugar Street Studios Candy Clay, it's called. This is what I sculpt with. It's like a modelling chocolate, and it is the most forgiving, easy to work with, sculptable product. And it's absolutely ideal for making bust faces. So you can see with the face, I'm actually working in quite an organic way at the moment, and I'm just building up shapes, building up rough noses, rough cheeks, rough eyebrow lines. So it's looking fairly grotesque at the minute, but you know, bear with us and it will slowly develop. I like to work on my faces all at the same time so I can just see the whole thing developing. But I'm starting here with the nose. And he's an old man, you know, I want him to have quite a big bulbous nose and big bulbous yet also saggy cheeks to show his age. Now this, I'm just going to show you here, I have made some eyeballs. These are made from gum paste, which I have painted with gel colours mixed with a little bit of alcohol. And the reason that I am doing these now is because I want them ready and dry so I can put them into my sculpture, and I can then sculpt the eyes, the eyelids, the brows around it. Liz Merrick has done a wonderful YouTube video on how to paint eyeballs, if you want to have a look at that. But really you just want to build up the colour slowly, making sure that your rim is darker, and then obviously getting that pupil in centrally to the iris. You want to make sure those eyeballs are nice and dry and firm by the time you want to put them into your sculpture. So I've put them in now. You could just put them in plain and paint them afterwards, but because I'm creating quite an old and wrinkly, saggy character, I'm going to be putting in a lot of sort of extra candy clay around the eyes, and I just find it easier to have the eyes pre-painted. So I'm working in quite a lot of wrinkles. I want hooded eyes. That's what's going to create the age of Santa. So I'm just working on that, and just, you know, things like looking at the smile lines. You can see I've just slowly added in wrinkles here, just to help create his personality. Now the face isn't completely finished, but before I start going in with beards, I need to make sure that his red suit is on, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to get to it. This is the sugar paste, which I have coloured red. That's the make, the sugar paste. I'm not using modelling chocolate for his clothing because I don't need to. So I'm just covering that in 2 pieces and smoothing together with my hands and a flexi smoother just to get rid of those seams. texturing here with a leather impression mat, I think that is. I just wanted to get a little bit of texture. We're going to see very little of his suit, but I just didn't want it flat. And I am airbrushing it just to give it a slightly deeper, richer red colour. And then I'm going to leave that to dry. So now we go in with the hairage for Father Christmas, Santa, Babbo Natale, whatever you call him, however you know him by. And you could see actually as I was sculpting that the mouth looked, well, dodgy, to be honest. I just wanted a semblance of a shape there because I knew I was going to be covering it all with his very ample beard and moustache. So I am just building this up with this is a mixture of candy clay and sugar paste. This white material that I am building up the beard with, and I'm just putting it on in sections and using my Dresden tool, and then this big part here is going to form the basis of the beard, which I'm then going to go in and texture. For his beard, as I've done really with the hair on his face, I'm texturing with the creating waves with the Dresden tool. And then rolling little extra pieces of my candy clay and sugar paste mix to create some 3D definition. And I've now gone back in because I want to give him quite an ample, almost handlebar moustache. So I've been building that up. It's just so it doesn't look flat on his face, really. He's looking less alien-like now, isn't he? You can see who it is now. So I use modelling chocolate, candy clay, because it just gives me such a long working time, and it's just so perfect for sculpting and blending, coming backwards, going forwards, working on something over a couple of days if needs be. It doesn't dry out in the way that 100% sugar paste, regular sugar paste is likely to, and that is very, very useful when you are working on sculpted cakes. Now for his wee hat, I just put, I don't know if you saw, some extra pieces of red sugar paste just to help give me the volume under his hat, really. And again, that's just red sugar paste like I used for his suit. I'm covering his face in a layer of Trex or vegetable fat. That's the tip that I learned from Avalon Yarns. And what I'm doing is I am colouring his face by using petal dusts. The Trex underneath means that if I make a mistake, if I put something on that I don't like, I can wipe it off. And it will sink into that candy clay. It won't leave me with a shiny face. In fact, you can see that already, it's not that shiny. So I'm just building up his face with tones of skin tone, brown, peach, a little bit of pink, and I'm trying to get into all of those wrinkles to really accentuate the character in that face. And I am doing the same. I'm going to colour his beard in the same way. So I've used a mixture of dove grey and cream and a tiny little bit of black, and I am slowly building up to try and accentuate all that texturing that I did on his beard before. You could airbrush, but I like the look that the dusts give. I think there's something a little bit more classic about it. So it does take time. It does take time. And I'm just airbrushing his hat to match his suit before I can go in and finish some fine-tuned detailing, because I don't want to be getting red airbrush paint everywhere. There he is, look, that's the colouring finished. For the ermine trim on his hat, I've used some more candy clay, which I've textured with a bark impression mould, you know, like wood bark. Just rolled a strip of it and just adhering it and attaching it around to cover that edge of the red hat, really. I'm just adding in some extra hair just to tie in the hat with the head, really. So there's some extra pieces of my candy clay sugar paste mix, and then popping those in between. I've added a bell. I have a tutorial on how to make jingle bells, if you want to see how to do that. And then just for a little bit of colour, really, I just thought it'd be quite nice to give him some holly. And you can see that I've made those. I've made that fur look like ermine with little black airbrush dots. And there he is. Red velvet and chocolate and marshmallow cake, Father Christmas or Santa Claus. However you know him, happy Christmas to you all.